Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a little example of how to actually contribute to open source software. So now let's get into how we actually make those changes and add them to our open source project. So the first thing we need to do is fork it by clicking on this little fork button right here. And that will, since we've already forked it before, all we need to do is I'll just click on this link and that will bring me to the fork. So all a fork is you're basically copying it to your account so that all the changes you make only affect the version on your account and not the original project. The next thing we need to do is we need to clone the project to our computer. So to do that, we need a terminal. And a terminal is just a way that your computer interacts with the with your computer. So the first thing we need to do is we need to use two commands called dir and then cd to change it to the area that we actually want to put the project. So to do that, I'm just going to cd to code day. And now what we're going to do is we're going to need to do git clone and then use this link right here to copy that to our computer. So we're going to do git clone and then copy that link, and then that will clone the project. The next thing we need to do is we need to cd into the project we just cloned. So to do that, we're going to type the name of the project, COSS 101 example. And now we're in the actual project within GitHub. The next thing we need to do is we need to do git remote v. And what this will do is it'll show us the exact origin of the project, so where we originally got the project from. And the next thing we need to do is we need to add we need to make sure we're on the right fork, and then we need to add the upstream remote. So the upstream remote is the original project, the one that's on the Code account, not the one we forked. So right now we're on the forked one. We need to make sure we are on the one that we're going to add to the project. So we're going to add that by doing git remote add upstream. And then we're going to go to the original project by clicking up here. That'll take us to the original one by code day. And then we're going to copy this link, go down to here, and then paste. And that will add it to there. We're going to do git remote v to check our work, make sure that our upstream is the actual original. And then this is our origin. To review, all we did is we cloned it to our original computer. We used cd to navigate to this one. And then we made sure that we had the right remote by doing git remote v. So here's our original right here, the one that we just cloned. And then we're going to add the upstream, which is the one that we're about to push to, which means add or changes to right here. So this is the original, and this is the one we forked after we add the upstream. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to git pull upstream main. So since there's kind of a differentiator between main and master, some projects will use both, but now what we're going to do, we're just going to make sure that we have it updated. So this is the most updated one. There haven't been a lot of changes, but if you go to a project like this, there's going to be a lot of changes being made, which means that you want to have the most up-to-date version. You can see that they just added one 3 hours ago. So to do that, we're going to git pull upstream main. And it's going to say that we're already up to date because the one that we have here, that's in our account is the same as the other one. So that just makes sure they're on the same page. The next thing we're going to do is add a new branch. So what a branch is that it differentiates the different development work that's being done. So you can see on matplotlib, there's 15 different branches for the different versions. There's lots of different branches that people are working on. You typically want to add a branch each time we're working on a specific feature. So what I want you guys to do is just do git checkout b and then b and then branch name. So that's git checkout branch name. I'm going to fill this in with the branch I'm going to do. So I'm going to do add word, and that'll be my branch. So now we're on our new branch. And then now what we need to do is we need to make our actual changes. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to go to our IDE. So I'm going to pull mine up. It's going to take a very long time to load. I'm sorry about that. But now we've added it to our project. We've added the branch. And what we need to do now is use a text editor. You could even just use Notepad, which is the one built into Windows. But typically an IDE is a little bit better because it will do the highlighting. You can run it within there and make sure it works. And then it will also have other features for making your development life a little bit easier. And here we go. Here's our project. This is a separate one. So what I'm going to do, oh no, I just closed it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to say open, and we already have it open, so you're just going to navigate it, but I'm just going to click here. I'm going to open the project, so it's going to load here. Eventually. And then here it goes. So as you can see, here's the code that we got from GitHub. You can see it pretty much looks the exact same. So here's our dictionary file. And then what we need to do now is make our changes here and then commit them. So for example, say we want to add another word. So we'll do and then a word that we could use is keyboard, because that's what I'm using right now. And then we can just say print something to type on. As you can see, these definitions aren't great. So there's a little change to this wonderful dictionary program. And now we've added a new word to our dictionary. So hopefully it's a little more complete. I need to wait for it to load, but to finish loading before I can really make my changes. In the meantime, as you can see, there's these different buttons up here that are integrated within the IDE. So those are what we can use. But what we're going to do here, it's good to know the more basic way to do it. We're going to use a commit message to add our file. So the first thing we need to do is add it to Git. So not all your files are going to want to be added to Git. For example, if you have a project that has a bunch of passwords in it or a database, you're not going to want to have that like accessible by everyone on the web, because they can just pull it. They can check out all the passwords that you're using. So you want to add only specific files. So what we're going to do is we're going to say git add a. So now we're going to add all because it doesn't really matter here. It's going to give me a little bit of an error. That's you don't need to worry about that. Those are just other files I have that are within PyCharm. Then we're going to do is we're going to add a description by saying git commit. We're going to say the M for the description, and in quotation marks, we're going to add a description. A quick note about these little like dash M's. I know it's really hard to see up because the silly theme I have added. But basically all that does is it kind of tells a message. So for example, here we added all. Here we added, the checkout, the branch. Here we're doing /m, sorry, for the message. So I'm going to say added keyboard word, and I'm going to press enter. And then this will add these files. It added all the silly files within the, these are just PyCharm files that are in here. We didn't want to do that, but that's okay. And now we're going to push them to the fork. So to do this, what we need to do is we need to take these changes. We've committed them. But the problem is that a lot of the times what you're going to want to do is you're going to make multiple commits before you actually push them. So maybe you change individual things. But now after we've made all our commits, we need to push them all to the file. So to do that, we're going to say git push origin and then our branch name. So if we look up here, our branch name was add word. And now we're going to need to put in my username. And now I think I can put in a password. It's probably going to yell at me that I need access token, and I'm going to have to pull up that. No, so I'm going to need an access program, access token. So this is a little more complicated. I don't really want to review my access token now, so I'll do that. Okay, so I've managed to find my access token. So now we're going to try the exact same thing. We're going to do git push origin add word. This is just pushing all our commits. If Right now we only have one. We're going to do that. It's going to ask for my username. And I'm going to give it my access token. One of the things that you need to know about passwords is that they don't show up. So even though I copied the access token in there, it doesn't show up even if you type in your password. And then as you can see, it just pushed it right there. So now we've added the changes to our repository. And then the nice thing about GitHub is that we have a graphical use of it. So if we reload the page, as we can see, we added the add word. So we can see we made the pull request. If we click on our version, you can see that we added a new branch. If we refresh this, 3 minutes ago, we added the idea. That was a mistake because now we have all these files. So I'm going to go ahead and delete all these. This is just going to make a new change, but that's all right. And that'll delete all that. But now what we need to do is we need to create a pull request, because the situation we got going on now is that we have the changes within here. If we click on our dictionary file, we can see we have our new keyboard word. But if we go to the actual code day one and we go to the dictionary here, you can see that it hasn't been added yet. So we're going to need to add a pull request. So if we click here and we're going to do compare and pull request, we're going to need to write a little description about exactly what we need to do. Sometimes there might be a template for exactly what you need to say. But here we're just going to say added the keyboard word. And that'll just tell the developers, the maintainers of the project, exactly what you changed. You need to make sure that this is really clear, so that way they know what you changes, because the problem with open source is that you can make a malicious change. Maybe you didn't, maybe you added a virus to it. So they need to manually go through and check it to make sure all your changes is good. We're going to create the pull request. And this is basically a request to have them add our code to the project. So since I also own this project, all I need to do is click merge pull request. This gets a little more complicated if you make a change that, for example, if you change the same line in that is already used within the program, it'll get very complicated, and it's simply helpful to use GitHub Desktop for that. But since we didn't make any conflicts and all the checks have passed, it's going to work. And I own the project as well. I can just merge the pull request and confirm the merge. So in this case, what's going to happen is that another developer is going to make it. So, typically the maintainer is going to approve it and you're going to be the one making it. But since I own both, I can do this. And then since we've created the add word branch and we've used it, we've added it, we don't need it anymore. So we can just click on delete branch. Ta-da. And then now if we go to the code for it, we click on dictionary, we can see that the keyboard word is added and our change has been made.